guys, Bennett, RC Shack. How the devil are you? Welcome. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. You will see lots of uploads on different aspects in RC, but mainly in RC crawling. So please, we would love your support. Also, while we're at it, there is a new hype. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. It just helps us with growing our channel. So please hit the like button. I think it resets every Monday and it only works on videos that are 1 week young. Yeah, so after 1 week you can't hype a video, but in beforehand, if you like the video and you like the content, please show us some love. On today's video, in case you haven't realised, here in the RC Shack house, we are back on the FMS FCX10 range, the Land Rover Camel Trophy Editions. We filmed it slightly different this time, and we've tried to do a sort of more informative video than what we had last time. So last time was a sort of dip your toe in the water, give a little flashy look about what they're like straight out the box, literally bursting out the box. If you haven't seen the video, go have a look on our channel, head on over to the channel and have a look, and it's on there. We filmed, now one of the rig owners is unbelievably busy and hasn't been managing to get out with us. So in this episode we are just concentrating on the Disco and the classic Range Rover. And because we've missed the other one out, we'll have to do another video showing the Defender. Oh, what a shame. But it would be nice to do the same as this, but with the Defender on top of it again, just to show the differences. So, there are lots of people out there saying all sorts of stuff, and there's not a lot of true information on the internet about the differences in these. And are they different? Yes, they are. There are discrepancies in them, and although some people may think, oh, it's only small, this book shows us the differences and identifies the characteristics and behaviour of the individual truck. Now, if it was 1-to-1 version and you're talking a couple of millimetre, we wouldn't notice it. But because we're in 1/10 and the smaller tolerance and scale, these little millimetres here, discrepancies, make a difference. And you'll see that in the video coming up. We've done the same obstacle with the Range Rover first, and then directly after it, the Disco, the D1. Taking exactly the same line at the same speed. They've got the same kit on top. They are out of the box. There is no preload. There is no added oils. There is no nothing. Literally plugged a battery in and we took them out. So yesterday we took them out for a really, really long run. RC Shack driver's crew went out and did a 7-mile run yesterday. Was absolutely bonkers. And for this time of year, to have the weather we've got is completely bonkers and balmy too. We must have all looked like a mad box of frogs because we're all running around with our RC toys. And at the end of the 7-mile, literally, I said to the owners, now give me your pros and cons. You know, what have you learnt from them? And they said, well, we just fall in love with the rigs more. They haven't got any cons about them as an unbelievable entry level on the market. There's no, they didn't have a bad word to say. And to be fair, Gemma filmed them in-depthly, so we've looked at the footage and I have watched them in slow-mo, stage by stage, creeping through, and they're beautiful. And yeah, I might have to get one myself. So that's what this episode's about. We're going to show you some videos, let you see the differences in them, and then we're going to come back here and talk about those differences. Now, for your money, this is incredible. So for your money, they all run what is the same. They all run a 550 motor, 32T, which is peculiar because normally we've got 35Ts, don't we? And then we go into maybe a 30 or a 27s and down. So they're running a 32T motor. They are running an R6D ESC, 60 amp continuous burst combo. They all run metal gears in the gearboxes, metal drive shafts. The Disco is the only one with a 120 tyre, which gives it obviously a higher centre of gravity but does help in certain scenarios, and it hinders you in certain scenarios, and vice versa for the others because they're running a 110 wheel. And you'll see that in the video. You even get like a metal servo horn with them. They're PPX7 water rating, which PPX7 is like a splash proof. XXP, sorry, I beg your pardon, an XXP7 water rating, which is splash proof. The servo is mounted in chassis, so it is higher anyway, and they do run a 4-link system. As you'll see in the videos, one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them get wet, up to sort of, you know, bumper range. So although the servo wasn't fully submerged, it definitely was, you know, 3/4 of it buried in water, and there was no doubt about it that water was sloshing across the top deck onto the ESC and stuff, and that's all IP67 waterproof rating. And as we know, brushed motors don't care about the water. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy the informative side of it. At the end of the video, we're going to put a pause page in, and we're just going to flash through the individual schematics for each truck, so you can pause it on it and have a look, write it down, take a photograph, go to the next one, pause it, and you can see the difference in wheelbases. It's not just wheelbase, it is departure angle, approach angle, ride height angle, and obviously you have to account for body height. The D1, although is my favourite, and people say look odd, and it's got the bigger arch and a bigger wheel, and people say it doesn't look right and stuff. It looks better in real life than it does on the pictures. It can look a bit out of scale and odd, and especially with crazy eyes sat in it. But in real life it's better. But it's very characteristic of a disco. It's got the higher top backed body, so it characteristically takes the weight off the front wheels. They are, because they're licensed, they're very realistic. And that's the other thing. Normally with this sort of money, you wouldn't get a licensed rig with so much thought, process and money poured into the design and build of it, because the quality is beautiful. Normally for licensed stuff you pay a lot of money. And when I first heard and I saw the price range under 300, you know, like I said in the other video, I was a bit concerned at how nice it was going to be. And it is very, very nice entry level, ultra scale trail into some technical trail capable rig, as you'll see in the video. Now the video is quite short and they're just little clips, but it's just showing you the difference of them going through the same obstacles. When we come back after the video, we'll have another little talk and I'll show you and talk about some approach angles. If I haven't said it already, please like and subscribe, and enjoy this next section. Nice one, guys. Right, and just like that, there we are. I hope you enjoyed them little clips that we put together under our test. And we hope that you can see we've tried to put the tests where the driver ability, obviously they've got abilities, but we're trying to make it as correct as just someone pulling the trigger, just someone who hasn't got any real knowledge. As you can see in some of the videos, in one of the videos, the discovery doesn't make it up the slope, and you can see it's on it. Now that could have been driven round, and that can be dialed out with preload suspension, but we'll get round to that. We started them with the Range Rover first, so we'll have a look at the Range Rover specs a little bit, and just go through some angles and other stuff. What I didn't go over yesterday, while we were talking about gears and metal servo horns and what you get with it, they all run a 0.8p pitch, 10 pinion, 47 pitch spur, 47.2 spur. Just so that's all the same. This is where the little different bits are coming into now. So we obviously know about the wheel size. We haven't got the Defender in it at the minute. So excluding the Defender, and we will do another video with the Defender in it. But with the classic Range Rover. Now, it has the smallest of the approach angles at 43 degrees. Now I'm going to flick through the book a little bit, so I do apologise, but I want to be correct on this, and if anyone wants to refer to this, what I'm saying, these pages will be at the end of the video for you to pause and have a look at in depth, just to correspond. So we know that the Range Rover, just by looking at it aesthetically, it is the smaller and looks wider and more statured of the vehicles, and it has a ride height of 62mm. So does the Defender, but for the minute it is the lower of the two that we're doing the test on. 62mm ride height, 10mm tyre, approach angle 43 degrees, and the departure angle is 38 degrees. So not a massive approach angle, but still very capable. And don't let that be the choice. Oh, it's got an approach angle is the low. Don't let that be the deciding factor, because it although it does hindrance, it just means you have to drive around that hindrance more. It just needs to be more driving. You need more hours on the wheel to know that you can get around these margins with capability, and just hours on the wheel. 321 wheelbase. Now everyone says they're the same wheelbase, and they're not. These two are the same. The Disco and the Defender are the same length wheelbase, both running at 321. Overall length of the vehicle is 588mm, and that 588mm is from the end of the bull bar to across the back bumper. So that is her overall body length and height. Her accesses are 46 degree upwards anyway. Width wise is 203mm centre tyre, outer edge of body. So the width of the body is 263mm. So it's quite a stature, and you can see these stats afterwards. The overall height, which obviously does play a big difference in this vehicle, because of its low statured stance, the overall height being at 290mm, as you can see in the videos, definitely comes into play. And it's definitely more of a vehicle you can just point and go, because it's more planted. Doesn't necessarily mean that with more capability it's more capable. That'll have to be shown. So that is the classic Range Rover. They both did exactly the same things in the videos, if you see, and they both had their pros and cons. Going up the hill, because of the higher backed body and the bigger wheel tyre, it was very light on the front end, and we didn't drive it around that problem to show you that's where the problem is, and that's what you have to learn. But like I say, rebound and preload in the shocks can sort that out too. But then on the deep sand coming up the hill, the disco has got the better ground clearance at 68mm underneath it compared to a 62. So there's a couple of mil ground clearance there, which is coming from the tyre, having that bigger tyre. So as you saw on the sand, it sat up higher, it moved a lot more material, it didn't bed down so much, and when it did find the grip, she pulled herself up on top of it really nicely. Whereas the Range Rover just kept on pushing through and ploughing through. It's smaller wheel set, it was a bit lower. I think if the sand was deeper, the classic Range Rover would have possibly had slightly more of difficulty, because she might have actually bedded down a bit more. And it would have took a lot more wiggling and wriggling to get it out, to keep her moving. So that is a bonus. The approach angle on the disco is 49 degrees, whereas the Range Rover was 43. I'll double check that because I don't want to get anything wrong for anybody, especially if this video could be the choice of it. Yes, 43 degree. So there's a fair bit of approach angle difference there. Not just having the bumper shorter, but the bigger wheel just naturally gives it a better approach angle. 39 degrees off the back end, which is the same, I will say. 38, so there's 1 degree. 1 degree difference, and that is, I suppose, because it's got the slightly longer overhang, although it is higher. So there's only 1 degree difference on the departure, and you can see that on the rocks, and you can see in our other video when they're coming down off stuff, they'll lay into it, the back axle comes down, and then the back of the body hits and slides off. Land Rover designed them like that, and that's how they are in real life, you know. So they are very scale in that sense. So the departure angle, you know, they are a trail truck. We're not coming off ridiculous, crazy rock lines and stuff with them, you know. So the departure angle is just, you know, part of the vehicle. Wheelbase again, 321. So they are both the same wheelbase. The only one that is different actually on wheelbase is the Defender. So although wheel size in arch, these two bodies could possibly be switched only because of the wheelbase being the same. But whereas the Defender is different, but we will come to the Defender another time. We've done the ride height. The overall length is longer. So the Disco is longer than the classic Range Rover, coming in at 609. So it, you know, that's that overhang again. Coming a bit of a bigger back end on it. We have centre tyre to centre tyre 203, and then we have outer body 239. So on a 203 centre tyre, if my memory serves me correctly, they are the same wheel width, so they are the same stature. It's just the bodies are making them look wider than what they actually are. The outer is 239 on the Disco. Now we can see aesthetically that the Range Rover looks wider, and we were 263 on the Range Rover and 293 on the Disco. So the Disco is actually the wider rig, not only taller, but the body is greater, which is surprising when you look at them, because side by side in real life the Range Rover does look wider. Height wise, we know it's taller. It's 318 to the front, up top, back to the fuel cans is 346. So it is higher, and the same again, you can see that in the video. She's just got that back bit of tip, which is just realistic. It's not a hindrance. It's the characteristics of the truck. Some people like that extra, you know, you need to be on your game driving it. Basically, you need that little bit of je ne sais quoi, otherwise it won't play ball. We will do another video, like I've said already, with the Defender. We will try and get them all three together. They are owned by 3 different people, and we're all quite busy, so it is trying to find the time. But we will definitely do an in-depth dive into the Defender, you know, at some point in the very near future. I'm hoping within, let's say a week, we'll have something up for you. I hope this has been informative, and I hope it has helped, and not only that, but has shown off the rigs in a good light. We've got not a bad word to say about them. Not at any point are we sponsored or involved with FMS or anyone. This is just our opinion on our own findings on what we do. If you know who we are, we're RC Shack. We've got a drivers club with on social media, Facebook, TikTok, right here on YouTube. If I haven't said it already, I'll say it again. Please like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. You'll definitely want to hit it. If you're watching this video because of these, you'll definitely want to hit the bell notification because we are missing a rig. Yeah, thank you ever so much for all your support. I don't know what else there is to say. How about, I'll see you on the flip side, guys. Oh, yes, there is more to say. Yes, there is. So, this is very new to us. We film it in all different parts and sections, So, but there is more to say, and there's some more points I want to brush up on. We haven't done a controller talk, so we will do a controller talk when we do the Defender. And we'll talk about lights, and we will go over the settings for them. Now, this is a V2 version, and in the V2 version, in this manual, which I do not have, but I do have a photograph of it, and I will put it into the pause page for you. It's an extra piece of paper they've put in where they've changed their settings, and it shows you how to do your light controls, indicators, holding channel 4, turning left or turning right. So there are parts to brush up on, and we will do those parts. Anything that's missing in this video, that will be brushed up on in the Defender video. When it comes to the lights, they are very aesthetically pleasing. The yellow hue, the size of them, and the brightness of them. They're very beautiful. When the rig is coming at you and it's wallowing, and it's, they look beautiful. Now the rigs, as I've already touched on, are splash-proof servos, but the motor is waterproof, as we know, and so is the ESC. As you saw in the video, the headlights are underwater and they're just LED bulbs, and there wasn't a problem there. And whether or not over time we'll see in the lenses where water's held and dirt's got in or whatever, we'll see. That'll be things that come along with the vehicles as they're used. But the electromagnetic platings on the back that connect the body electrics to the chassis electrics are really lovely, and they've got something that I'd imagine most people think, oh, that's floppy and loose. The actual plates where they go together, one's on the body and one's on the chassis. One plate is loose and is allowed to float and ride, and what happens is when this one comes to it, they suck them together. It actually allows a movement, so if you did hit your body or anything like that, it's not fast and it's not going to pop any connections. There is actual play in there. It's very well thought out, and when I first saw it, I thought that's a little funny touch that most people would think, oh, is that broke? Should there be a spring on that? Should that be supported? And it's not. It's clever little touches. There are lots of light controls on the controller, which I can't really talk about because I haven't got the controller here, so I do really apologise. This section of the video, we're now going to go into a pause page where we're just going to flick through certain parts of the manual, and you can pause your phone, TV, whatever device you're on, and you can go through re-over what I've said, and also there's lots of info in there, stuff that we wouldn't cover. There's also a full breakdown schematic sheet, part for part. Now, I'm not sure I can get all the photos in parts for part, but if someone does want a part for part, they've bought a second-hand one, they haven't got a manual, they want a digital version of it, please do get hold of us in the comments and we'll see what we can sort out, if we can take photographs of them and send them to you privately. Thanks very much for tuning in, and look forward to the next section of the video. Cheers, guys.